You're listening to From Pain to Possibility with Susi Haitley. You will hear Susi's best ideas on how to reduce or even eradicate your pain and learn how to listen to your body when it whispers so you don't have to hear it scream. And now, here's your host, Susi Haitley.
Welcome. Now, for this episode, I want to start off with a really awesome experience I had this morning with my editor, who is helping me finalize the workbook for the Healing and Revealing Human Potential program that we're just about to launch next week, that we're going to actually start up in July. And it was such an incredible experience because here I am, someone who's got a pretty balanced brain, left brain, right brain. I am a pretty solid analytical thinker, but I also have a hugely creative streak. And I'm working with a editor who is very logical and process, who's got enough woo in her for us to get along, but her structure is really helping me drive this curriculum in a way that will make it make sense to a lot of people. So it's been really, really fun. But what I was saying to her through the process was how over this past year, I've gained more and more courage of really speaking to my ideal client, and how it used to be that I would attract people with physical issues. And there was the belief on their part that the issue was very much physical. And through the process, they would start to recognize the lights and the whispers related to not only the physical realm, but what was leading to the physical realm being in the state that it was. And I started to see likewise that there was a relationship to their mental well-being and the physical. But because the mental well-being was outside of my scope as someone who works with the body, then I struggled even going there. I didn't think I should go there. And then over the years, as I work with more people, I started to blend and see the relationship and blend them so that I wasn't going outside my scope. I mean, I'd seen social workers and I've seen psychotherapists in my past. I know very well what they do, and I was not doing that at all. So I was really comfortable in being able to find the synergy between the mental wellness, mental health, and physical well-being, and help people see the relationship between the two. And it's been really fun, particularly when I work with people with persistent issues like persistent pain and other persistent symptoms, because there, the real recovery and healing is inside of this synergy. If you think of a Venn diagram with mental well-being or mental health and physical well-being or physical health, and you bring them together and there's that space in between, there's that synergy of mind and body that is really where faster recovery and healing can happen. You can kind of bounce between the two of them, when in reality, if we can find that blend, it can really up-level someone's speed of recovery and healing. Now, a lot of people can kind of get afraid of going there. And it's partly why in the past I've resisted sticking my head out and really messaging to the world that this is how I work with people, because I knew that it was safer just to say I work with the physical body, even though so much was happening on these other planes. And what I found even through the intensive, where we speak a lot more about this idea of the synergy, people can be afraid. They're afraid of what they're going to find. And I think a lot of people, and some of them have actually said this to me, that there's this misnomer that I'm going to get out this flashlight and I'm going to go in and expose wounds, which is really the furthest thing from the actual process. What actually really happens is that as someone moves better and breathes better, they start to let go of bracing patterns and gripping patterns because they gain an inner stability. And so they don't have to consciously relax these bracing or gripping patterns, but there's this inner support that naturally allows for that efficiency occur, right? To allow for that relaxation to occur, to allow the ease to happen. The effort that they have becomes a lot more effortless. And yes, they become aware of what is contributing to them getting tense, strained, and grippy. And that might bring up old wounds. But then with those old wounds emerging in a really safe place, they've got a chance to have them be seen and cared for and given the love and the nurturing that they're then asking for. And yes, I understand totally, 100%, how even hearing about this process can be a little fearful. Like people hearing this could be like, ooh, I don't know if I can do that. And I want those of you who are thinking that to know that when someone is ready, the exploration of their body in this way can be very, very safe and a fun process because there's a reclamation of power. And I would add in there that this reclamation of power is really something quite sacred. And I know that the word sacred can sometimes be used in relationship to religion or to God or divine. And while there is a definition there, what I'm more referring to is sacred in the form of this deep honoring and caring and deep, deep respect. And that's what ends up happening is that there's this really deep honoring and respect for one's body, which then, interestingly enough, starts to bubble over into other arenas of their well-being. My clients tend to be very analytical. They also are intuitive. They can process a lot of information without needing to check into their body until their body demands it. These are folks who can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They're the ones who can carry on. They're the ones who can just keep on rolling. And many of them actually thrive off of crises, right? They thrive off of having a problem to solve. And when they don't have that, that's when things can become a little bit interesting for them. And in some cases, subconsciously, they actually create something more to fix, which then continues to deplete them. Their body then, when it's demanding of their attention, what they're really being asked or demanded from is these symptoms. The symptoms are showing them the imbalance or the lack of connection or the lack of integrity. So when clients actually begin to recognize this, they recognize it as a missing piece, and it's like they have the complete code for the combination lock. They've got their analytical mind. They've got their intuition, and they now begin to understand more of the ebb and flow of their body, their energy, their fuel. But there's also something more. It gives them a window into their subconscious. Now, other traditions like shamanism, they talk about this as well. And in shamanism, they refer to the subconscious as getting access to your guides or your ancestors, right? There's different lineages out there in the world that also talk about subconscious in different ways. The point is that no matter the tradition or lineage we're looking at, it's talking about the capital K knowing. There's a knowing that is more than just what's in our analytical and conscious mind. It's like there's this space, this big mystery that so often our minds or our brains are trying to figure out. And at some point, as our body starts to become better, as we gain the realization that there's possibility to have less pain, and we begin to fall into this place of more relaxation when we feel safer inside of ourselves, there's this kind of gradual relaxation into this greater capital M mystery and a recognition of what is contributing to when things get tighter and grippier and bracy. There is this idea of subconscious understanding, which becomes another resource to support your recovery, your healing, your happiness, your performance. So when I'm referring to subconscious mind, what I mean is everything that you do or say that fits a pattern consistent with your self-concept. Yes, your thoughts, your hopes, your desires, your habitual patterns. This is what you become aware of through this process with me. You become aware of that which you weren't aware of. You become aware of some of those things that are really driving you. You might not even know you're someone who thrives off of problem solving or thrives off of a crisis, that you need a crisis to keep going. You need something to push against in order to move forward. You might not know that that's even happening to even know that you might be being depleted, right? Like a really interesting story that I had with a client is that she was told by her physician that she had low blood iron levels. So she was given iron, but her levels didn't change. And then she went through a process. She was asked to take iron supplements again. And then all of a sudden her blood levels went up like hugely. Now, was it because of the process that she went through? I mean, I can't say that for sure, but I think there's an interesting correlation between her now realizing what was contributing to the iron levels being low, as opposed to just saying iron levels are low. And see, that's what's really interesting when we bring in the subconscious mind is that you might have a number like an iron level that is low. And many professionals would say, oh, look, iron level is low. You better now start to take a supplement to increase those iron levels. Or you can take a look at it another way of like, well, why? What's contributing to those iron levels being low? you start to recognize some of what is contributing to the way your system is behaving. And then you can start to make clearer choices of what really works for you because you're more clear on what's a weed and what's a flower, right? What's serving you or not. I know it can be scary to go there. You're stepping into an unknown. You're not really sure, which is why I like to begin with the body. Something that's easily quantitative and can open the door to the qualitative experience and can then gradually and gently move you into this place of the subconscious that can open the doors more fully to recovery and healing. Because this process is one that is physical from my perspective, the physical body supporting the mind supporting the body. There's a mental, physical synergy. And that is what healing and revealing your human potential is really all about. Opening the gate to really and truly reclaiming your freedom, your ease, your inner sense of power. Now, if this is something that is really resonating with you and you want to join me for healing and revealing human potential, the launch of it, we start in July, but our launching of registration begins next week. Then do email us at health@functionalsynergy.com. I would love to get you on the goodies list. That's the early priority list where you will get access to some better deals and some fun stuff to go along with it. Because I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to working with you. Happy exploring.